Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little mask make that I'm going to be doing today, creating some pockets out of some book paper. This is actually inspired by Rachel over at Roxy Creations. If you are not following her, this is one of her Roxy's weekly challenges. I believe this was week 4, if I am not mistaken. She used some book paper and some printed vellum or printed tracing paper. I do have tracing paper, but I actually want to use up some of these things that I have been hoarding in my stash. And so I am going to use some Tim Holtz collage paper. I'm also going to use some images that I have printed on clear sticker paper a long time ago. I've had these images literally for years. I've been going through my craft room trying to reorganize and kind of purge and do some things. And so I saw these images and I really wanted to use them. So the first thing that we're doing is using up some of these glue pages. So anytime I'm working, like doing collage or anything like that, a lot of times I will use these book pages and then I'll tear them off of the book as I'm working, but I like to save them. And so then they become pockets or tags or something like that. So in this instance, they are becoming pockets. I'm trimming them down. First of all, I'm not going to make you watch me trim all of them, but that's what I'm doing there. Just trimming off the area that doesn't really have a lot of text. And then I'm going to go through and glue these together. I'm trying to make sure that the glue side where I had previously glued is on the inside of these pockets because it creates like almost a rough texture on there. And so I'm just going through with my Yoo-Hoo glue stick and gluing these all down. And then as I'm working, I kind of tuck these up underneath my black mat that you can see there, just to help them kind of flatten out while they're drying. It doesn't take too long. And then I just went through that whole stack of these and just let them dry for a few minutes. And now I'm going to go through and pull out some of these images. Again, these are images that I got from digital files just years ago. I'm not even sure if these are still available in these shops, but I had printed them out on clear sticker paper, and I wanted to use them. They've just been sitting in a file folder in in my craft space. So I'm going to use them, and I really love these kind of distressed images. I think there's a lot that you can do with these. So again, I am just using some sticker paper. I'll also use the collage as well, but I'm just pulling back the release paper kind of on here and then lining this up. And this one where there's like a lot of the sticker paper that's actually hanging over the edge, I just let the release paper kind of fold back on itself. This will make it easier to cut without getting my scissors all gunky. So I'm just going to actually cut the excess with the release paper all the way around. Now, this image really isn't very clear. It ended up being more faint as over this book paper, but I can work with that later. I will actually end up decorating these down the road, and so I may add some labels or another focal image, but this just really kind of mutes that background text and gives me something to kind of work with as sort of jumping off point. Some of these I will leave as they are, and some of them down the road I will decorate. So one of the things that I am doing with this clear sticker paper especially is I'm taking my bone folder and gently rubbing over the top of it. That just really helps kind of burnish it into that book paper, and it gets rid of that sort of hazy look. It helps get the image to be just a little bit sharper. Again, Rachel on Roxy Creations, I think she actually used like printed vellum, or she had printed on some tracing paper, which is definitely an option, and it had really awesome results. But I really just wanted to use up some of these things that I have. And so one of these things that I have been hoarding are these collage papers from Tim Holtz. And so I love this one. It's so beautiful. And, usually if you're using collage paper like this, it's real thin, or tissue paper, or even napkins, when you apply glue or matte medium or gel medium or whatever, a lot of the background will end up kind of going clear and just really sort of melting into the background. And this does that to a certain extent, but it does because I think the book paper behind it is, has a patina to it, and this has a little kind of white haze to it, but it actually ends up working out really well because it just really mutes that text in the background and then still gives you this really beautiful focal image. I don't know that I would need to do much to this one other than maybe add a label or something down the road, but I also have this collage paper from Tim Holtz that has these like color swatches on it, but I wanted to get to this area that has the blue and the green. So I'm actually just going to trim down the section that I want. So you'll see me here. I'm kind of lining this up with my little pocket there. And then I'm trimming off the areas that I'm not going to be using for this particular pocket. And then I'll save the excess. So all of that will just go back in the little tube, and I can use it on, future projects. So I'm not worried about that. I don't really want to waste, I didn't really want to waste it, but there was this very specific section of it that I wanted to use. So I wanted to show you though that you can also, I've been using glue stick, but you could certainly use something like collage medium, matte gel medium. In my instance, I'm going to actually pull out some matte medium. This is just a more liquid version. You could use even clear gesso. And the problem with this, it's not really a problem, but this is really thirsty paper because it's old. And so it really kind of just soaks up all this matte medium pretty quickly. So I'm making sure to add a really good coat of this, and especially all the way to the edges. And then I'm pressing this tissue in there. I wanted to kind of see if this would make a difference in how the background was, and I didn't really notice it too much in terms of it's still kind of cloudy in the background, which is actually great. But then I did go over that with another coat of matte medium. And the reason why this is great is if you use this in a more like mixed media situation, you're going to have a non-porous surface. So there's other things that you can kind of do without all of the inks and things, soaking into this particular pocket. But I did need to set that off to the side to dry. So I didn't trim it down at all. I just set it off to the side. I'll let it dry while I'm working on the rest of these, and then we'll come back and trim that out. So this image is actually, this image is beautiful, but it gets lost in all of the text on here. So really it just kind of reads as, just some color in the background. It's kind of hard to see, and even in person, you can kind of make out what it is, but not exactly. So I will end up doing some more to that pocket down the road. This one, I love these bold numbers. I have a thing for numbers, so I really like these bold, kind of distressed looking numbers. I may or may not add anything to that one. I'm not quite sure. But then this one, I decided to do a vertical pocket. I'm back to the Tim Holtz collage papers here. I love this image, and so I really wanted to use this and kind of left that rose or that flower part kind of hanging off the edge just a little bit. And I love how this one turned out. So you can see again, all of this tissue that I'm cutting off, I am saving. So I will use these in other projects. Actually, part of this will get put on another one of these pockets here in a minute, but I am trimming off the edge here. But this was the one vertical pocket that I made, and I really love it. I didn't make too many vertical pockets because these book papers are pretty thin, and so this is not going to be a huge pocket when it actually goes into a journal, but I just wanted to do one vertical, and that had such a big floral image that was like the perfect one to do it with. So again, with my love for numbers, I pulled this one out. I love the distressed numbers on here, and this is just going to be a really great background to whatever I decide to put over the top of it. And you can see I'm just very gently going over this with my fingers. I'm trying to avoid using my bone folder on these because I tore that one just a little bit. And so I'm trying to avoid doing that because this tissue, once it gets wet, is pretty fragile. So you kind of have to have an easy hand with this. And then this one, the edge of the pocket is actually like torn. I left that part. And so what I did is I came in with a little bit of water, just using that water brush there, got the edge of this tissue wet, and then I'm just pulling it with my fingers, and it's just going to give a kind of tattered edge to the edge of that pocket, which I absolutely love because I purposely left that that edge really tattered when I pulled it from the book. So I really love how that one turned out. And then back to some more Tim Holtz collage. I love all of these collage papers. They're so good. And so this one, I thought I was finished with it, and then I decided I'm actually going to come back through and pull one of these images from the clear sticker paper, and I really love how this one turned out as well. And then again, just kind of rubbing it over gently to burnish everything down. And then I'm going to add some of the scraps onto this one. So I added a little bit of glue down here on the bottom and a scrap. And then I added some more glue over the top and then slightly overlapping that piece of collage paper that I had done down there at the bottom. And I really like how this one turned out as well. You can kind of see the line where the two overlap, but when you add a focal image or something over the top of that, you won't be able to see that. So again, I'm back to now some just clear sticker paper. Again, this is another one that on the sticker paper, you can see the image very well, but with that background text, you do kind of lose the scenery that's back there. And that's okay. I did decide to trim this one down just a little bit. It was a little wonky. So I trimmed off the top, and I liked the proportions of that one better. So this is how that one looked that had the collage medium on it. I did just trim all of that off once it dried. And then I had this other one that we did at the end there that I trimmed as well. So off camera, I went around, I punched the thumb notches for all of these. I distressed the edges with some archival ink in ground espresso, and I rounded the corners at the top of the pockets. So some of these, again, are going to be great just like they are. Some of them are going to need a focal image, but I decided not to decorate them on camera today because I really want to save these to decide how I'm going to use them in some upcoming journals. So I may or may not add something to them. It really just kind of will depend. Like this one, you can kind of see there's a floral in there, but it's not very well defined. And part of that is because that book text, the print on it is so dark. And so it will probably get a focal image. This one I kind of think will end up staying the way that it is. I maybe add a little label over there on the right. Same with this butterfly. I may add a little label depending on how it goes. I love this one. And so again, I may add a little tiny label or something to it, but I'm not quite sure. This one kind of got a little wonky. The butterfly is straight, but the sign is wonky. And so I don't know if I should have done that a little bit differently, but I may add a focal image or something over the top of that as well. This one, again, because it's just a scene, it really just kind of reads more like color. This one, I don't think I will touch unless I add just a little pop of color with a label or something on there, but I absolutely love this one. I think this one is hands down my favorite of all of the ones that I created today. And I think part of it is because the text is running vertically. I really like that. So you can see there where I tore that collage. I can cover that up, or I can even trim across this pocket if I need to. Not too worried about it. It can be fixed down the road, but I will leave it for now. This one is pretty well finished. I think this will go into a journal just like it is. Just because I really, really love this one as well. I like the kind of just a little bit of color with that black and white in the background. And I just really like how this one ended up turning out. Of course, I love this one with all of the numbers. This one will definitely need a focal image of some kind though. And this one, I added a little butterfly over the top of this one. And I think this one will probably stay unless I do add a little label or something like that. So anyway, thank you, Rachel, for the inspiration. I really enjoyed creating these. It gave me a lot of ideas. I have some ideas for some more ways to use up some of my scraps and my little book pages here. But if you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the notification bell. That'll just let you know when I have new videos coming up. Also, consider joining my Facebook group. It's a new group, and we're growing, and I'm really excited about it for some upcoming things. Here's a close-up shot, and until next time, friends, bye.